Hey, what's up? It's Mike B with Bombero Bus, and I'm out here at the barn working on a little project we call Jimi Hendrix. It's the 1965 Bug that's behind me, and today we're going to take a first look at the brakes and pretty much getting them redone. So let's get to it. Pulled off the hubcaps, and you can see a lot of grime back there. First look at everything on the brakes. The only thing we know for sure is that they don't work. Taking the wheel off for the first time, give a better look at these brake lines here. Like I said, they appear to be in pretty good shape. I'm not afraid to use them, but I don't want to pressurize the line and try these brakes until I've taken a peek in here. I want to make sure those wheel cylinders don't lock shut on me and cause a nightmare. For now, I had better get some lube on this right here. Probably gonna have to use the slap wrench to try and get it off of the UK keeper pin that's been on there for 50 years. Let's see how friendly you're gonna be. Okay, it's off, and look at that. A ton of mess in there. I'm gonna take a look at these components and see what kind of shape we're in. If any of this is reusable, I doubt it, but I know it's rebuildable. So, first look at the drums on this car. I'm gonna come up here and take a look at the brake cylinder. I do have a new one on hand already. The line that feeds the front passenger side is off. The line that feeds the two rears is off. The one that feeds the front driver is off, but broken. So I'm able to get the master cylinder off now, and I do have a new line and fitting for this one. And the floorboard, that's the push rod that went through there. These were 13 millimeter. Lubed them with some penetrating oil, and they came off pretty easy. Once those two 13 millimeters come out, that's them right there. All that's left to do is come over on this side, and the master cylinder, as you saw earlier, was sitting right here. And as long as all your lines are disconnected, it just pops right out. The new brake cylinder, the one on the bus had two switches that came with it. These Bug only has one, but it's in pretty good shape. And I'm probably not gonna bench bleed it. I didn't do it on the bus, and we were able to get the air out, but it is recommended that you bench bleed these along with any brake cylinder before you put it in. But we're gonna get the other one off, put this on, pump it a couple times, and try to work the air out through the lines if they will even break open. So there it is, new brake cylinder. New brake cylinder is mounted. Got a nice fitting from the reservoir through the plug. Had to put one new line on here. These lines are great, man. You get a kit and it has different sizes, and these bend very easily by hand. Very easily I was able to shape this to what I needed. So now that it's on there, we're gonna, if we have any luck with the bleeder valve breaking without actually breaking, we'll get some fluid in here and see if we can build up some pressure. We were able to build pressure up on the brake pedal but we weren't able to get anything coming out of the bleeder valve on the back of the wheel cylinder. So I cracked it here with pressure on the brake pedal, and we had fluid come out. Well, if you trace that soft line to here, I cracked it here also, and no fluid came out. So we pulled this soft section off, and sure enough, it was blocked, but only up by one end. So we were able to push a drill bit through there and blow it out and squirt some brake cleaner through this soft line, and it seemed like we had good flow. So what I'm doing is, even if I'm gonna get some new ones, now that this is unblocked, I want to put it back on, build pressure back up, and see what happens out here. So of course we kind of lost our prime after breaking that soft line off, but already he's up there pumping it, and I have the vacuum hooked up too, and this is the most fluid we've seen come out of it since we started this process. So, all right, are you holding it?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. All right, pump it. All right, we're starting to get some fluid come out back here, so let's keep working that. So we were able to build pressure. You can see there's fluid coming out of the wheel cylinder now, a couple of air bubbles, but obviously we were able to get some fluid pushing through there. What happened is that soft line was blocked. We were able to push a drill bit through there and hit it with brake cleaner and blow it out. And after we pressurized it and bled it down, we got to where we were able to spin this one, and when I hit the brakes, it stops. The front driver, we got this wheel turning by hand, and when I hit the brakes, it stops. We don't know about this one yet because we don't have it off the ground, but we have brakes. But I'm not happy with that, so what I'm going to do is order new soft lines all the way around, some new wheel cylinders all the way around, and go from there. Like I said, I don't want to spend a bunch of money in places I don't have to, but on the brakes, I am going to get the soft lines and wheel cylinders in all four corners, and then we'll hit it from there. And if it's good enough, it's good enough. If it's not, we'll replace some other components. Okay, what I'm gonna do first is disconnect this hard line, the hard brake line, where it goes into the back of the wheel cylinder. You'd like to go ahead and break that free, make sure you're not gonna have any issues there. And that is a very tricky situation if your car is old, which all of these air-cooled VWs are, so be gentle with it. You can lubricate it very good first, rock it back and forth with the wrench, little by little. Try to use your finesse to not break the fitting or the line. So I'm gonna go ahead and break that free. Okay, the hard line is disconnected from the wheel cylinder, and if you can see that wrench, that's a size 13, and it is sitting on a bolt that holds the wheel cylinder to the backing plate. So we're gonna undo that bolt now. Okay, now that we've got our hard line disconnected from the wheel cylinder back there, and we've got the bolt, the 13 millimeter that goes back there and holds this wheel cylinder to the backing plate out. Let's go. Well, firstly, I should point out, you see this brand new shiny wheel cylinder. This isn't the original one. What I did was I had this laying around. It's from a 1970. So I put it on there to see if it would work before I ordered some new ones for this actual car. And although it appears to fit, it doesn't. There's a different height here that technically it worked. It pushed these shoes out, but it doesn't fit properly as far as depth goes. And so these are some of the things we're still learning about air-cooled VWs. Don't forget, we're not professionals. We're just two guys with wrenches who love air-cooled VWs, and we're still learning some lessons along the way. So don't be fooled by this new wheel cylinder. It's got to come out, but this will still be a good way to see how it's done. So now that the hardware from the back is off, this upper return spring, you have an upper return spring and a lower return spring. Both of those have to come off. So I'm gonna use these pliers, see if I can pop those off. All right. So upper return spring is loose. That should give me enough play to pull this wheel cylinder out. And there it is. There's the bleeder screw that, you know, will be very important when we pressurize the system and go to bleed it down, get all the air bubbles out. So the wheel cylinder is off. Go ahead and finish taking this upper return spring completely out. And then before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and take the hold down springs off. These hold down springs are pretty much what keep the shoe pressed up against the backing plate. The thing about that is this hold down spring goes over a pin that's right there. So when you go to compress this spring and turn it to get it off, that pin will want to just spin with it. So the pin goes through to the back of the backing plate, and you can get your finger back there and push in on that pin and do your best to keep it from spinning. Well, then you can just take your pliers get them on there, compress it in, turn it, and boom, the hold down spring is off. Same thing on this one. And both shoes are loose. So now I'm going to get this lower return spring off. On one side, and then the other should just come off by hand. The lower return spring looks a little different than the top one. I'll show you, because you definitely want to remember how these go back together. Top one is in its own little clamp up there. And this is the connecting link going from one shoe to the other. So the other thing is your emergency brake lever right here. We're going to disconnect that. Okay, that's your emergency brake cable coming in there. Goes to this lever. When you pull forward on it, boom, this lever activates, moves forward, activates the connecting link between the two and pushes them out. So we should be good to go to get all of this off now. Remember, you want to know what this was like when you took it off, which is a lot of the reason I do the videos. Like I said, I'm still learning a lot of this, and the videos help me to document how things looked. There you have your anchor block and basically your wheel, your adjuster wheels right here, because once you get your brakes redone, you want to adjust them, and sometimes when you're not doing the brakes, they just need to be adjusted, and these are the means to do so. They're in pretty good shape, so I'm gonna leave them alone. And now I'd like to get this new wheel cylinder put on. So where the hard line is going to go into the back of it, when you buy them new, there's a little plug there that's got to come out. That's where the hard line is going to go in, and that's where that 13mm bolt will go in and hold this to the backing plate. So we'll just push that through there. And your bleeder valve goes up. Okay, we'll finish threading the hard line into this, and I'll get this 13mm in the back holding that wheel cylinder. All right, I got my wheel cylinder locked in. The hard line is hooked to the back, and so is this bolt right here that holds the wheel cylinder to the backing plate. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a shoe on. Remember how they went. That's why I make these videos. So the pin is still there. It goes through this big hole. I'm gonna push it in. And we'll take it. Goes on same way it came on. Now before I put the other shoe on, we have to deal with this emergency brake lever from the other shoe. We want to put it on to the new one. What it is, it's hinged on a pin. If you look on the back side, there's a clip, kind of like a circlip, I guess, but that's got to be punched off and then installed onto the new one. So I'm just going to take this to the table real quick and struggle with this clip and get it off. Okay, now that we've got our emergency brake lever reattached to the rear shoe, you can see the clip is back on, nice and good. That's not going to go anywhere. We're going to take our connecting link. Going to go ahead and set that in its notch. Set that in its notch. Get it in place. You can see our pin still comes through. Gonna get the hold down spring on that. All right, you can see we've still got a loose fit with our upper return spring because it's not connected yet. So let's slide that in. And then we'll get our lower connecting spring in the same way. else left to do is get our emergency brake cable hooked back up to the lever. And you can already see the action it provides as far as activating the lever and pushing the shoe out. So that's it for the rear drum brake. Going to do the same thing on the other side. The front ones are orientated a little bit different, but pretty much the same way. So if we don't get back to those, then I hope this helped. Just wanted to give you a snapshot of the front brake orientation. Like I said, it's different than the back. This is the front, and the shoes are top and bottom instead of left and right. Of course, you don't have the parking brake mechanism in the way there. One thing I found out was that I reused a lot of the Volkswagen original hardware that I could. This stuff that came, I don't know the brand of it. These are okay, but the springs and the pins that go through here, they're nothing compared to the original Volkswagen ones. As old as they are, 55 years, they're thicker, stronger. You can just tell the difference in the durability and quality. So I'm going to keep a lot of the old Volkswagen hardware on there, you know, stash some of this stuff away for emergency purposes. But for now, that's it on the brakes. I'm going to get out of here and go grab a bite to eat. So hey, thanks for checking out Bombero Bus. Don't forget, if this video helps you, feel free to like and subscribe. If not, leave a comment and let me know what's up. Either way, thanks for checking us out. We'll see you on the next one.